All right, let's get right into it. When we think about AI, we usually picture the cloud, right? Something kind of weightless, invisible, just pure code floating around. But what if the future of AI isn't weightless at all? What if it's heavy, physical, and, yeah, radioactive? This is probably the single most important question in the tech world for 2026. And the answer is changing absolutely everything. We're past the point where it's just about faster chips or smarter code. The real race now, it's for something way more basic.
That's right, uranium. Why? Because these massive AI models we all rely on are so incredibly power hungry that the cloud is basically becoming a parasite on our public power grid. And that grid is starting to buckle. So what's Big Tech's solution? A pretty radical one. They're going nuclear.
To really get how this is all unfolding, we have to start at a place with a really dark history. A place that was supposed to be a ghost of the nuclear age, but is now being woken up for a totally different reason.
This headline from just this month pretty much says it all. We are talking about 3 Mile Island, the site of that infamous 1979 nuclear accident. A place that's been sitting dormant for years is suddenly being brought back from the dead. But the really wild part isn't just what is happening, it's who is bringing this zombie reactor back to life. It's Microsoft. They've gone and signed this massive 20-year deal to reboot the plant, which they're now calling the Crane Clean Energy Center. But look at this last point, because this is the kicker. Microsoft gets 100% of the power output. All of it. This juice isn't going to the people of Pennsylvania. No. This is the first time we've ever seen a tech company literally privatize an entire nuclear power plant just to feed its own hungry AI data centers.
But here's the thing. This isn't just some weird one-off Microsoft story. Nope. This is the start of a massive industry-wide pattern. Other tech giants are jumping into the nuclear game too, but they're using some brand new tech to do it. They're called SMRs, Small Modular Reactors. Honestly, the best way to think about them is like a nuclear Lego set. Seriously, instead of building one gigantic custom power plant, you can just mass produce these smaller reactors in a factory and then click them together wherever you need the power. It's a technology that unlocks this whole new power grab. And this is the new playbook step by step. You've got companies like Amazon, which just tripled its order to 12 SMRs, and Google, which is teaming up with Kairos Power. They're all following these exact steps. They're not waiting around for the public utilities anymore. They're literally building their own private energy islands, totally walled off from the public grid. So you have to ask, why this sudden, desperate rush to build private nuclear fleets? Well, the answer is the absolutely insane amount of strain that AI is putting on our public infrastructure, like right now. Look at this number, 1 gigawatt. That's 1 billion watts of power. It's a number so big it's hard to even wrap your head around. But this isn't some theoretical figure. It's a very real and very big problem for our power grid. Because that's the peak power demand for just one of these new AI campuses. And to put that into perspective, back in January of this year, we saw 5 different data centers hit that 1 gigawatt peak. That is more than enough power to just completely overwhelm and crash a local power grid. I mean, this chart really shows you the core problem. AI demand is just spiking out of control, while our public grid's capacity is already stretched to its limit. In fact, grid operators just had to approve an emergency $11.8 billion expansion. And that's not to build for the future. That's just to try and keep the lights on for the rest of us while these AI data centers suck up all the available power. So, when you start putting all these pieces together, a very different picture of big tech starts to emerge. We're watching them transform into something completely new. They're not just in the information business anymore, not by a long shot. Just look at this breakdown. A few years ago, their whole world was code and apps. Their main asset was intellectual property, but now their focus is shifting to uranium and reactors. Their biggest asset is becoming raw atomic power. And here's the bottom line. They figured out that to own the future of information, they first have to own the future of energy. This whole power grab raises a really profound and, frankly, urgent question. As these companies build their own private, super reliable nuclear-powered energy islands, what happens to the rest of us, who are still plugged into the old public grid? This is what people are starting to call the energy tier system.
A world with two grids, one premium, stable, always on grid for AI, and another one, a strained, less reliable one, for our homes, our hospitals, our schools. As these software giants morph into the new energy barons, this isn't some sci-fi scenario anymore. This is the reality that's taking shape right now.